Good morning. I've just finished my second small cup of fresh ground, fresh brewed. He's got this honey lavender in there that I'm thinking about trying, but never mind. I'll stick to what I know doesn't. So, let's get started. During the night, I think I peaked around 150 subscribers. I think I'm back down to about 146 or 7 now. And this was just finishing, casually going through the morning. And my first statement is that what appears to be an old black gentleman from Washington, D.C., Scoo, like 89 or something. I'm sorry, I'm doing it. Scoo 89, you've been hidden, hint, hint, unsub. I don't really care about my subscription level. If you're not really bright enough to listen to my, or even, do a searches on my scientific statements, if you show signs, let me repeat what he said because it just popped up during the night. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm still getting the glaucomic outflow via the uveoscleral pathway, the little drainage holes around your cornea. I've had people go, "There's no holes in your cornea." Okay. Scoo said, why don't you stay in one of those shelters and stuff? And I'll address that later. And then he said, people will think you're a vagrant. That is a classical passive aggressive statement from a person who doesn't know the vagrancy laws, at least not here in Texas and in most places. I'll define vagrancy first. In Texas, you're not a vagrant as long as you have $10 in your pocket. Always carry a bank card, so even those times when I've been flat broke and had to get into a dumpster while waiting till my next oil and gas or my next disability check. So, like before they passed the Jew Jersey anti-hooker, no solicitation on or near a roadway law here in Texas, you were allowed to hitchhike even on the interstates and all state controlled, the DPS, they know the only thing they could get you for was vagrancy, and that's if you're broke, and that's really a kind-hearted thing. They'll you really don't. It's too long. As long as you got $10 in your pocket, you're not a vagrant. A vagrant who's somebody is stone cold broke all the fucking time. So the way Scoo, because this may be the title, is Scoo Be Gone. Scoo Be Gone. You're gone. If you use a passive aggressive, see, you didn't say that you would think that I'm a vagrant. You use that phrasing of people, but that's what you're thinking, that I'm a vagrant. That's it. Masking an insult, left-handed compliments are a whole different section. And if you use a passive aggressive statement on me and you're unaware that you're being passive aggressive, that means we're going to have problems again if you communicate again. So your communication has been deleted. My comment is still there with your name on it. Your Scoo 89 or whatever. And now a few words about shelters. I've gone into dry shelters, and oh my God, the air is unbearable. I've usually gone before because their shelters are usually run by people that used to be drunks and drug addicts and stuff like that. Sometimes they're run by people who are residents there. And I ran into a guy in Ohio that said, you give a bum a little bit of power and he goes crazy. true words. So I actually did, for a long period, was able to survive in what was a highly policed wet shelter in Bangor, Maine. I know Bangor, Maine, and that's why I know all about you, hobo shit stain. Why didn't you shoot any video in Bangor, Maine? It's because people might recognize you and go, hey shit stain, you want to go down under the bridge for a while? I know all about you, hobo shit stain. Uh-huh. You know, he stops around Lewiston. Didn't show. I watched. You know, pretty sure I didn't miss nothing there. I watched too long on that video because it's boring as shit. But you didn't really show us around Bangor, Maine. That's how it's pronounced. It's not Bangor or Bangor. It's Bangor, Maine. Please turn off your closed captioning. It's not working. Benjamin Franklin said, when speaking, look into someone's eyes. While they're speaking, look at their mouth. That's what I really hated about COVID, is that in order to fully understand somebody when they're speaking, I have to see your mouth. Interpreting various dialects and understanding other dialects and other people who are speaking English as a second language, if their mouth is covered, I can't hardly understand a word you're saying, okay? So I actually have spent time in a tightly controlled, highly sanitized, and that's where I may tell the bonus story at the end. And here it comes. Wait for this noisy fucker to get by. At the Hope House, the Hopeless House as we call it, next to the Pines, where all the gay guys hang out and drink and tent up and have encampments and have like wild orgies every night, even in like fucking like 15 degrees and shit. They keeping each other warm under the blankets, you know. Love always wins, you know, love conquers all. There were many interesting, I really wanted to kind of study them at that, because an alcoholic actually, at the end stage of alcoholism, you stop sleeping. You go into kind of a restful state, and you just lay there knowing that you've got to have at least 4 or 5 hours. The latest check-in time is like 10 o'clock there, if they have, you know, and you have to, even an alcoholic knows that they have to lay down for a while in every 24-hour cycle of drinking. They've got to have at least about 4 hours down to allow all those aldehydes and shit to, you know, start to get out of the system and into the bladder and yada yada. And I was always wondering why they put this particular they called him, there's Bruno. All wellness. Okay, he's reading some. I'm sorry. My best friend, I'm going to read is the minute it comes on the screen. That's our deal. You won't get an instant reply, but we don't demand instant replies. We love each other. Okay? So I'm actually I'm at a kind of an angle of repose right now. They call him Jerry the Angry Indian. He used to go around all day long, you know, even after he'd gotten like his morning belt or shit, you know. It's with that, I don't know how to do it. It's kind of like, you know how every president since like Clinton puts on that kind of face, but it's worse than that. It was real, I'm angry. They called him Jerry the Angry Indian. I think he was Micmac. Wabanaki, what the fuck? And Then one day I came in fairly early to observe people going through what they know. And by the way, this was in this study. I actually found there are people that are actually good-hearted, functional alcoholics. I had a cousin that was that way who showed up at my dad's funeral, drooling drunk, but dressed to the nines. Was very sharp looking. He just had to get hammered to deal with the trauma of losing one of his, one of the few, and he put in all his years. He managed to stay sober enough all during. He worked for GT&E for like 40. He was a telephone line and so on for 45 years or something. But Jerry the Angry Indian, he was a useless piece of shit. They used to always put him at that bed right up against the wall near the desk because I found out one night, I think that the staff was on to me. I'm a little too intelligent to be in there with people that are fakes and stuff. I'll get onto that. I don't want to get off on a tangent, but apparently a habit that he had developed when he may have had a sleeping bag or just sleeping drunk on the ground was to whip out his excretion tube and really pump out that full bladder. That's when they put him and facing the wall. Is they put me in a bed because he had already gotten it. They put him for some. I think they did it deliberately, and I was awake because I'm actually at the time I was under circumstance and under crowding. This refers to shelters again. I don't sleep. I have PTSD. If I don't trust you, I ain't sleeping. I don't care how long it is. I'm not going to sleep. I'm going to be there. I may close my eyes, but my ears are perfectly in a silent room. All of a sudden, I heard a little, like the sound of something hitting my blanket. Opened my eyes, and there was Jerry with his dick in his hand pissing on me. I immediately jung up and took my really good leg at that time, my left leg, and just shoved his bed into the next bed, which went into the next bed, and go, "Motherfucker, stop pissing on me." So this is for the old black dude in Washington, D.C. Scoo Be Gone. You're gone. Be gone. You don't think? And you used a passive aggressive term. People may think that you're he puts it, they phrase it, they go like, I pity you that you don't have Jesus in your life. Ma'am, Jesus told you not to act like that. That's a passive aggressive phrase. You're damaging the other party by claiming to have pity for them. You people get anywhere where I'm going here? It's now been 14 minutes. I'll let you ruminate on this stuff before the next video. There's another good story in there. I will finish with this. I met a guy in that Welch shelter. He was an alcoholic, but man, he was funny and functional and everything. And the only reason that he was in there was because he had a disability. It wasn't very apparent, but he was disabled. And I think he had SSDI or whatever. And he was actually giving all of that money to the support of his daughter. He was the only guy. I think he held back a little bit for kind of seed drinking money, and he would, but he was one of the few alcoholics. He would reluctantly borrow money from me. I'd give it to him. And, because he needed that morning, wake up thing. And I tell you what, as soon as he got his money, that motherfucker would come hunt me down to pay me back. So I give everybody one chance. I think at first he only asked for like $5. As soon as he got paid, he was hunting me down. He wasn't running the long con on me. He never escalated the amounts. Never went above like 10 or $15. And he would hunt me. He felt that strong moral obligation to pay back his debts. I know there's always exceptions to the groups. It's maybe possibly someday I'll find somebody with his pants down around his knees and his butt hanging out. No, I don't think so. Anyway, later.